Exclamation, buddy, and welcome to another channel update. This one for June 2020. The game in the background is Forager. It's been a long time since I played Forager. There's been a lot of changes since I last played, so getting to see the way they've redone the UI and stuff been an interesting experience. I'm not sure I agree entirely with all the UI decisions they made, but a lot of other things that they've done are quite good, I would say. Although not great for a speedrunner. I was doing a lot of speedrunning with it before, and it was I definitely slowed down significantly, mostly due to, I'd say, the UI changes that they made. But anyway, this is my for those who are new to the channel, this is my monthly sort of vloggy sort of thing. Basically, usually I just talk about the channel and what's going on behind the scenes and what I'm thinking about and some of the changes I've been doing and all that stuff. But I also bring a little bit of life stuff in. As you can probably guess, my voice is very raw right now. I intended on recording a whole bunch of stuff tonight, and I've felt great all day. It's just like about an hour or two ago, I had a coughing fit, and it's I can still feel it in my chest. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm gonna take that's one of the reasons why I'm recording this tonight, because I was able to just sit here and play Forager for about an hour without saying anything, and now I can kind of talk over it. Yeah, so I'll be, hopefully this is just a little spot of something and I can wipe it out pretty fast. I don't feel under the weather. I just feel it's just like I'm just exhausted from the coughing, which is just weird. I mean, it's not weird for me. I have this sort of bronchial condition I've had since birth that makes it where when I cough, I really cough, and it tends to hurt when I do. So this is just kind of fatigue from that, not from really anything else. And I don't think I'm going down with a cold, but I'm gonna load up on some aspirin and stuff to make sure that I don't come down with something, hopefully. But there's been stuff going on. Obviously we're all still sort of in lockdown. The area that I live in, I'm just outside Philly myself, we just went into yellow mode from red. So red was basically full lockdown. Yellow is they're still encouraging anybody who can work from home to continue working from home, which we're doing, and but a few more like shops can open up with some restrictions and stuff like that. And then we'll be like, since Philly is part of this whole thing, we'll be the last. The township I live in and Philly will be probably the last ones to go fully green, which honestly would be a good thing. I'm not complaining about that, because if we've gone green, then that means it's pretty well cleared up at that point. And with all the recent goings on, who knows if we're going to have another wave faster than we would have otherwise, because everyone is rightfully not restricting themselves for the movement going on. I'm trying not to go too in depth with it. This is one of those weird things where, on the one hand, I kind of want to provide an area where you can just go away, you can kind of escape from the stuff, and honestly, it's a selfish thing because I kind of want to escape from it too, because I watch the news as much as anybody else, and I know what's going on for the most part, and particularly in the United States right now, and it's pretty bad. and I need the escape as much as I think you guys do as well. And I'm trying to provide some of that, but in the same hand, in the same sentence, I also feel like this is one of those situations where being completely silent about it is just as bad as going the other way and being, vocal on the wrong side of it. So I'm gonna say my piece on it, I suppose, without really delving too much into it. I'm just going to give you my thoughts, and then we're going to move on, and we'll just talk about games and the channel and stuff. So obviously, there's been the protests and whatnot going on, and there's been a lot of stifling of First Amendment protected speech, and I'm just going to say this about the whole situation. I am a huge fan of Star Trek. I used to have a poster, and you can probably Google for it, and you'll see this poster that I used to have on the door of my house, door of my my bedroom when I was living with my parents. When I was a teenager growing up, and it was I believe it had the original Enterprise A on it, Enterprise Constitution class on it, and it said everything I know about life I learned from Star Trek, and had a bunch of bullet points underneath it. But one of the things that always stood out to me, and this was something that was covered in the original series with Spock. I forget the name of the episode, but I believe Diana Muldaur was the guest star, and they were they were communicating with some sort of alien race that anyone who looked at the alien directly would go mad, except for a few people who were trained, and she was one of the ones that was trained to be able to communicate with this alien species without going completely insane. And this is a episode where Spock wears his Idic symbol, and he kind of explains a little bit about what it is. But basically, in Star Trek, the Vulcans have this, I don't know what you would call it, driving societal notion. I'm not sure exactly. Constitution. I don't know exactly what it would fall under, but basically they had this social contract that they called IDIC, infinite diversity in infinite combinations. And the gist of it is that, Vulcan was tearing itself apart. They had huge wars, just the most brutal things ever. They were nuking each other to, back to the Stone Age and all that stuff. And they eventually came to realize that the only way that they were going to survive and thrive and, continue on into the future as a race was to look beyond their differences and come together as one people. And I subscribe to the notion that the only way we as humans will ever continue to make progress and reach for the stars and continue to survive is if we protect and uplift each other, regardless of what our backgrounds are. So given what I've just said there, you can probably understand, you probably can glean what side of the debate I'm on. I feel like we can't do this alone. We need everyone together, everyone's brains together, working together in unison to become a great civilization, a great human race. You know, and anything that stands in the way of that, anything that diminishes that, anything that seeks to treat a certain class of humans different from everyone else based on trivial aspects is the antithesis of that, and needs to be extracted from our social norms, and you know, not be a norm anymore, I guess is the best way I can put that. As you can imagine, I haven't prepared any statements or anything. I'm just off the cuff here. So you can see, I think based on what I've just said, you can understand where I'm at on that. And that's as deep as I'm going to go. Because again, it's important enough to say something. I just don't want to, I want to escape from some of it too. I want to provide some sort of escape from the constant news cycle, and be a little bit more positive. But it's still something important enough to say some words on. Anyway, now that I've said my piece on that, and hopefully you guys are still with me. If not, sorry. Talk a little bit about the channel and what we're doing. Over on the YouTubes, I'm at pretty much holding steady at about 575 subscribers. It goes up and down a little bit, but it's pretty steady there. On Twitch, we hit about 83 followers, and I believe Mixer, I'm at 109. And was it Caffeine? I'm at about 236 or 7 or something like that. Recently, and then D Live, I think I'm like 5 or 6. I don't remember the exact number over there. So we're doing pretty good. We're holding steady. Twitch is actually increasing a little bit because I've been playing a bunch of different games recently. And the games I've been playing have some sort of embedded communities. So it's I've been seeing a few people come in and hang around and chat and help me with the game and stuff like that. So that's been really cool. You've probably noticed I've kind of done something a little bit different with the channel. As far as games go with like Let's Plays, I decided that, I had tested this with Wolcen, where I was uploading a VOD of the live stream, and I was breaking it up into half-hour segments and just uploading everything at once, and just only making the first part of that segment ping your subscription boxes, and the rest are just there in the playlist. And that seemed to be okay. The only thing that stopped that was the fact that I paused my playthrough of Wolcen because I got stuck on a boss. So I thought there's a class of games that I've been avoiding streaming because there's a lot of downtime in them, and that's things with open worlds that take you really a long time to do anything in them. I've been hesitant to stream those because I'm trying to make the stream interesting, But this last month or so, when I've been super busy with work and everything, I decided, you know what? I need to get my brain out. I need to get my head out of work, especially being home and not being able to like physically get away from it. And why not go for it? I actually took some inspiration from Space Game Junkie as well, because Brian he's been streaming a lot of games that are sort of like that, just are open world and just kind of very slow paced. I think he's doing Starfleet 2 now. He's done a few others in the past as well, and it seemed to be working for him. And I was like, well, you know what? Let me just give it a whirl. There's a bunch of games that I've wanted to play forever, but I just needed to force myself to do it. And one of those is trying to get into the X series of games. I have tried so many times to learn and to get into any of the X games, starting with the X1 and X2, X3, so on and so forth. X Rebirth. And finally I said, you know what? I keep hearing how good X4 is. And I've seen some videos of people playing X4. Co-Carnage comes to mind. And I was like, I'm gonna force myself to do it. Because I've wanted to get into this for a long time, and I just gotta force it. So I've been playing X4, and I'm just now starting to really get the hang of it. And it's really good. It's you really have to like beat your head on the desk for the first 20 hours or so, trying to figure things out. And I thought, you know, if I'm going to be doing this, I still want to put the VODs up on the YouTubes because, you know, they might be useful to someone. And I thought, you know, the best way I could probably do it, you know, normally I would highly edit. I would edit out a lot of the downtime and come up with catchy titles for the videos and stuff. And I thought, you know what? Let's just show the game as it is. And I kind of have an ulterior motive there, because I was also thinking of, if, you know, since this has been kind of working for me for X4 and stuff, that I had other games in mind as well, like Star Citizen, for instance. And so I thought, you know, if I'm going to do this, let me show the game as it is and let people know how long it takes to really get into it. Especially for someone who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Because, you know, it's very easy. Like, I've been watching some videos of people playing in Star Citizen 3.9, and they're highly edited, you know. It's like, okay, we gotta go do this, we gotta do that. And it's like, how much time are you actually spending, you know, in the back end? It's like the old Minecraft videos where it's like somebody builds something, this huge build. It's like, how long did that actually take you? Was that like a 70, 80 hour build? And you condensed it down to like 30 minutes. Is that what happened? So it's I thought I would take the perspective of, I'm going to show the VOD, but I'm going to split it up into hour-long segments. And every hour, I'm just going to say, this is hour 1, this is hour 2, this is hour 3, this is hour 4, blah, blah, blah. And then that way, you know, I'm following the same pattern I followed with Volson, which is the beginning of my upload. The first one in the sequence of uploads will ping your subscription box. But the rest I have it turned off, so you won't get, like, I just uploaded, how many did I'm not even done rendering out the X stuff that I have, X4 stuff that I have. But I'm like halfway done, and I've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Right? So what's going to happen, and they're all uploaded and just sitting there private right now. And it's hour 14 to hour 19, and then I've got I think I'm up to hour 26 2. So I've got a few more that I have to render, and they're all going to go in the same upload, basically, package, basically. But what I've done is I've set it up so that only hour 14 will show up in your subscription feeds. You only see the one, so you don't get spammed with like 30 of them at once. You only get spammed with one of them, and then the rest will just go right into the playlist. And if you want to watch them, the playlist is there. You know, have fun, that kind of thing. And that's I kind of took that. I'll be honest, it was not my original thought. I took that from CoCarnage, the way he does his YouTube uploads. His YouTube guy basically does the same thing. They will, the first in the sequence of uploads, the first video in the sequence of uploads, they have it go to your subscription feeds, and the rest just go in the playlist. And YouTube is good enough in that it will figure out what the next one is in the playlist. So when you're done the one, it should show up and say, okay, click this next one to go to the next one, hopefully. So, and that seems to be working pretty well for him. And I think it's a good medium. I know that people like to see really highly edited things, and I get that. But I'll be honest with you, having done YouTube now for, what is it, 7 years now, something like that. I'm getting really tired of editing. I never was really a big fan of editing in the first place. And now I'm just like super tired of it because I got so many things. I have so many balls in the air right now that I'm juggling that the editing is getting as minimal as possible. I'm sure you've noticed that, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who get very frustrated with that. But it's just, I don't enjoy editing. There's a lot of YouTubers who enjoy it, and you can see that they enjoy it because they spend lots and lots of time doing it. I have a full-time job. I want to play some games. I don't want to be sitting here for 3 hours a night editing. You know what I mean? So that's where it's fallen into now. Especially since I'm doing a lot more streaming than I've done before. You know, when I was just doing YouTube and just doing like a stream here and there, it wasn't quite so bad because what would happen is I would record one game for about an hour, and then I'd move on to another game and record that for an hour, and then move on to another game and record that for an hour. With the streaming now, I'm usually recording a game for 3 hours. And then the next day I'm recording another game for 3 hours. And the next day I'm recording another game for 3 hours. And it just becomes, the workload for editing just has gone through the roof, right? Because it's now, instead of just having like an hour of footage that you can go through, which you can get through relatively easily, because an hour of footage you figure out pretty quickly. Like when I was doing Minecraft stuff, an hour of footage for me would usually translate to about 35 to 40 minutes, because there'd be enough downtime in there that I could cut it out. And the other added benefit was, because I wasn't streaming it, whenever I would come to a point where I knew I was going to probably edit it out, like I was doing something that was just kind of grindy, I would stop talking. And so when I'm looking at it in the video editor screen, I could see periods of time where there was no, you can see the waveform. I could see periods of time where I was silent, and it's easy then to just go and go, chop, chop, get that out of there. Chop, chop, get that out of there. You know what I mean? So that made the editing process easier. When it comes to the live streaming though, it's not quite as easy because you can't really be quiet for as long as you used to, right? Because people are popping in constantly, and you kind of have to be talking. Otherwise, they just lose interest immediately and leave. And even when I'm talking, they lose interest immediately and leave. But still, at least I'm putting an effort in. That's one of the big, no-nos that you hear about. It was just, I was in the stream and nope, they weren't talking. I was like, well, that's the way it is sometimes. You just got in there at a bad time. And so that's the other thing. So it makes it harder to even edit then, because I might be talking about something that has completely unrelated to what's going on the screen that could be cut out, but it's it's hard to pick out. You have to actually watch the VOD, or if I were actually good at this thing, I'd probably make notes somewhere and then look at my notes, but I can't be bothered to play a game and make notes at the same time, and it's just, I'm doing this for fun, not for a job. If this were my job, I'd be taking it a lot more seriously and making notes and all that stuff, but it's a hobby. So that's where I stand on that. So I have a couple games like that I'm going through now. We've got X4 Foundations. I've got Helium Rain, and X4, by the way, I do have the Split Vendetta stuff. So even though I say it's X4 Foundations, I do have the DLC and stuff in there. It just, I don't know where the DLC begins and the original ends. So I just keep calling it X4 Foundations because I just don't know where the separation is between the two. So doing both of those. Helium Rain, I got a lot going on. We're up to, was it hour 20 on that as far as the videos that are rendered. So that'll be coming up as well at the same time as X4 Foundations. And then I've also been playing Starpoint Gemini 2 in this fashion. So my streaming schedule has been on Tuesday it's been Helium Rain, on Thursday it's been X4 Foundations, and on Saturday it's been Starpoint Gemini 2. As far as long form stuff, there's other days in there too doing other things, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So Starpoint Gemini 2 is, it's rough. There's a damn good reason why I never did a full Let's Play of it, because it just is just horrible. It's just the worst. It's a buggy mess. It's very slow. They completely killed the initial progression in the game, to where, like Starpoint Gemini 1, it was slow to progress at the beginning, but you would eventually got to a point where you could buy ships and everything. This one, it's like the first ship you'd ever want to buy is like 2.5 million credits, and trying to get 2.5 million credits is just the worst. It is the worst grind I have ever seen. It wouldn't be so bad if I could do the capturing ships properly, but the capture ships mechanic is just absolutely broken. It's like either an NPC flies by and destroys the ship while you're trying to capture it, or it's the ship is just, you can't get a ship. It has too much crew. It's just any number of things that just makes it just go belly up, or your crew that you beam over just suddenly gets completely wiped out, even though you had more overwhelming crew than what was there. It's all kinds of rough. And the AI in that game is just brain dead. Like I've been taking down some pretty high level ships, because basically the AI, when you start to attack them, they just stop. And so if you just fly right up to them and you fly underneath them where most of their guns can't reach, you just sit there and wait until it moves, and then it'll move for a little bit, and then you move with it and then stop again. You move with it and stop again. And just, as long as you can rinse and repeat that and you don't have another enemy ship show up, you're pretty well golden. You can take down a level 60. You know what I mean? If you wanted to, in a level 5 ship, you know. But that's been very trying on my patience, to the point where I've decided to time box it now, to where my Saturday stream, I think I'm only going to do it for 2 hours of Start Playing Gemini 2, if even that. Maybe even I might even time box it to like an hour or 90 minutes even, and then I'm going to do like Mass Effect 2, which is what I've been playing on Wednesdays. Mass Effect 2, just started. I wanted to take a little break from Assassin's Creed, mostly because I've got so much of that to go through, and that's another thing is I do have a lot of Assassin's Creed videos waiting to be rendered, waiting to be edited even, because I haven't edited anything for a while. So I am, now that I'm crunch time is pretty much over now for me. So I'm now starting to get my sanity back. I'm going to start trying to edit those and get them out as soon as I can. Right now I'm in the process of just rendering out a whole bunch of these long form things like X4 and Start Playing Gemini 2 and all that stuff. So I'm trying to get all that done. That's a significant chunk of time it takes. Just today, in fact, X4 Foundations, the 6 hours of footage that I just rendered into 1 hour chunks, took, I believe, 9 hours to render on my new machine here, which is on my gaming machine. So it's on, I just, which I haven't mentioned yet, I just upgraded my gaming rig to RTX 2080, and so now the rendering is really good. It's reduced my rendering times by quite a bit, which is nice. Unfortunately, my old computer still has a 960 in it, and that's what I've been rendering the first impression videos and stuff on, because those are like an hour usually, and it'll take about 4 hours to render them, and I usually let them render overnight while I'm asleep, so they're usually done by the morning, and everything's good and copacetic and all that stuff. I just tried to render a 3-hour segment on it, and it said it would take 12 hours to render it, so I had to stop it. And I was like, okay, I gotta move this over to my bigger rig here, my NVIDIA RTX 2080, and we're gonna have to do it there, because it'll be closer to probably like 4 or 5 hours there, not freaking 12 hours. So that's that's what's happening so far right now. So that's also why the Assassin's Creed stuff has been a little bit slow, because I have all that set up to be edited on this computer. Like I was dividing things between the two computers, and it just so happened I had Assassin's Creed stuff on the big rig here, and now I'm using the big rig for this other stuff. So I'm trying to get all this other stuff cleared out so that I can get back to, you know, the Assassin's Creed stuff. So that will be coming again. I apologize. I know there's a lot of people who are enjoying that. I apologize on just being tardy on that. It's just, I have to sit down and just like edit. I'm trying to get it to a point where I can edit 2 episodes in one sitting, and then I'll be good for that week. I'm going to do it on like Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to try to get it out there on. So like 2 episodes a week until it's done. And we're still on Assassin's Creed 2 there. I still have all of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood to do, and all of Assassin's Creed Revelations to do. So we got a long way to go there. Once I am finished Mass Effect 2, I'll be back to Assassin's Creed. I'll be back to Assassin's Creed 3. I just want to take a little break from it. So that's next on the list. Assassin's Creed 3, and then I want to get to 4 as soon as I can. So I'm depending on how I feel with Assassin's Creed 3, I might shortchange it. I'm not sure. I might just stick to like the main quests and not do too much on the side, but it really depends on how I feel with the game and how the game, you know, if the game tickles me a little bit, then I'll spend more time on it. We'll see. I know a lot of people say that 3 is probably the worst in the series. So I need to see, I need to experience it for myself to see if that's really the case or not. But I know I want to get to 4, and when I get to 4, I'm going to take my time. I'm pretty sure, because I hear 4 is the best, or at least one of the best. I know a lot of people like Origins too, I think. So, and then we got Valhalla coming out at the end of the year. I'm not going to be in any rush to get to Valhalla. I'm going to let that kind of be out there for a while, and then probably buy it on sale when I eventually get to that point, because I got a ways to go before we get to that point. So I'm not going to be doing day one on that. That's for sure. Speaking of day one things, though, I believe next month is is it at some point either this month or next month we're supposed to get Horizon Zero Dawn for the PC. I am going to try to play that again. Do another playthrough of that, possibly at a higher difficulty level. So, because I love that game, and I never did the New Game Plus on it. Obviously I've played it on the PS4, so I'm not going to be doing a New Game Plus because there's no save game for it to look at on the PC. But it's I'm definitely going to play through it again. I may or may not do all the side stuff. We'll see. I enjoy that game a lot, so I probably will do a lot of the side stuff, but I'm gonna leave it open that I might just rush through it and then maybe do the side stuff in New Game Plus or something like that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So many things on the plate, you know what I mean? Because the reason I say that is because I think next month we've got Ghosts of Tsushima coming out, which looks like basically Assassin's Creed feudal Japan. So, which is the thing that everybody and their grandmother has wanted. So I've already pre-ordered that, so I will definitely be playing that come next month. So when that comes out and when that's available, I will be playing that on stream. I don't know how it's going to work in regards to all the other things I got going on with X4 and Helium Rain and all that stuff, because probably I'll still have X4 going on. Probably have Helium Rain going on too. I'm not sure, because I feel like I'm starting to... I mean, it takes a long time to make progress in Helium Rain, so we'll see on that one. Starpoint Gemini 2 I intend to be done with by then. Hopefully I'll be over to Starpoint Gemini Warlords by then. Although I might hold off on doing Warlords until Ghost of Tsushima, because Ghost of Tsushima will probably be like my Saturday stream kind of thing. And also during the week as well, you know, like where Mass Effect 2 is and all that stuff, most likely. So we'll see. I might rejigger a few things around to make room for it. I still want to do a variety of things, but a lot of times when a game is really good, I just want to kind of just spend a lot of time on it, you know? So that's where we're at with that. And I'm trying to think of what else. First impressions videos. I know lots of people are here for the first impressions videos. They are continuing. I am very far behind on them. just because of all being busy and also all the rendering stuff I've been doing and editing, or not editing, but like, you know, the long form let's plays and all that stuff. It's been crazy. I've had a lot going on. I have a lot of things on my list to look at, but I haven't really. I've peeked at a few things, but I haven't really looked too hard at too many things. So for instance, I'll go down the list of things that I have set aside for first impressions videos, but I haven't decided yet whether I'm actually going to make a video on them or not. They're just here as suggestions. Surviving Titan, Galaxy in Turmoil, Terminator Resistance, Neon City Riders, Shop Titans, Planet 2000, The Last Archwing, Knights of the Card... What is that? Knights of the Card Table. Okay. Pocket Cars, Outpost, Population Zero, maybe. Armored Command, which I actually just played a little bit of the other day because it's one of those games where it's like, yeah, it's super complicated. And, yeah, I got murdered right out of the gate. So I might have to play some of that first. I might have to play a bunch of it on my own first to try to get the hang of it before I do a video on that, because it's like super complicated. And I don't have there's probably a manual somewhere, but I haven't found it yet, so you know, it's one of those. Crucible, I played a little bit of Crucible. I may not end up doing a video on it. It's kind of boring. I may or may not do a video on it. We'll see. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Titan Outpost. Hopebringers, I can move that out of here. I just did a thing on that the other day. That's done. That just went up today, actually. Today, Monday. So you can see what that was all about. Where did I leave off? Titan Outpost, Grand Guilds, DCL the game, which is drone league, drone racing league. I played a little bit of the game because it's interesting. It's an interesting game. I played a little bit of it, but it was like super janky. So I was kind of waiting for it to maybe get some updates before I do a video on it. Ancient Enemy, Fallout 76, because the Wastelander stuff has dropped a while ago, and apparently it's halfway decent. So I might want to pop in there again and do like a revisit on Fallout 76, because I already did a first impressions video on it a while back, but I might do a revisit of it to see what has changed. And the thing is, I'm gonna end up re-rolling a new character, so I don't even know if I'm gonna get to the Wastelander stuff or not. So we'll see. One Dreamer Prologue, Rum and Gun, Tony Stewart's Off-Road, I believe, something like that. Tony Stewart something or another. It's a racing game. Gray Zone, Nibiru, Stone Shard, and Hexterminate are the things on my immediate list to take a look at. There's also a few things I think in the Epic Store here that I don't have listed on there, and a few things. Obviously, I'll be looking at a lot of new releases and stuff. I usually go through. There's a Twitter feed I usually go through called What's on Steam. And it usually, every time a new game gets released on Steam, it gets a tweet on there. So I usually go through that, and then I go through Alpha Beta Gamer, see if there's stuff out there too. And then I'll go through like, what is the name of that? Keymailer and stuff like that to see if there's new things on there and whatnot. So there's always room for more of that. Also, itch.io had a fundraiser for the NAACP, and part of that was you could donate $5 or more and get like 700 different games. Well, 700 different programs. So 700 different things. Because some of them are like tabletop games that you can print out. Some of them are assets for Unity or game development. Some of it is just most of it's games, you know what I mean, but it's a bunch of things in between. So there were a couple interesting things in there that I wanted to take a look at, so I might pull through some of that. None of that was particularly new, but it's, you know, I haven't done a first impressions video on it, so I'll still be getting a first impression from me, right? So that's where we stand on that. It's going to be slow going, just because I have so many balls I'm juggling right now. But I am going to try and sit down and get a bunch of first impressions videos recorded. I don't really have much in the pipeline right now. So I was going to record a bunch tonight, but I'm just out of it. As I said previously, from the coughing spell, like I was all ready to go, and then I had a coughing spell for about half an hour, and that kind of took all the fight out of me. It took all the it took all of the energy out of me. So that's where we stand there on that. As far as MMOs go, Friday, I've been devoting my Friday streams to multiplayer games, MMO games. Usually it's Star Trek Online, but I've been taking a little break. I took a little break from Star Trek Online because I want to do a bunch of things. There's nothing wrong with STO. It's just so often you want to take a little break from it. I'm still playing it on my own. Still contributing to the fleet and all that stuff. It's just, I don't necessarily have to stream it all the time. And I decided to revisit Dungeons and Dragons Online, DDO. And boy, it's been years and years since I played that game. But even then, like going through the newbie area, it all started to like click with me again. Like, oh, I remember this, and oh, I remember that. I didn't get very far in it the first time around that I did it. But it's all sort of coming back to me now as I play in there. And they also have a special event going on. I think them and Lord of the Rings Online have a special event where there's a coupon code you can enter, and you get a whole bunch of modules for free. So until like the end of August, I think it is. So yeah, I mean, it might be worth it just to create an account, a free account, and just pop in that coupon code and get a whole bunch of modules for free that you can play around in and stuff. So that's interesting. I'll see what's up with that. I've never played Lord of the Rings Online, but I might just create an account just to get that stuff there in case I ever do want to play it. So that's where we stand there. I've also been thinking of I also want to revisit Elder Scrolls Online. I desperately want to get out of Morrowind and get towards the, get to some other lands and just do some quests in other lands, because I'm so sick of Morrowind and trying to navigate Morrowind and all that stuff. I'm just done with it. And actually off camera, I did move my character to another area, and I still have a premium account with them. So it's been what I had something like 40,000 crowns or something. Like they give you like 800 crowns a month or something like that to spend in their store, because you have an active subscription and stuff. And I had something like 40,000. So I'm like, well, I guess I better go buy a house and buy some furniture for the house and all that stuff. And so I did a bunch of that off camera. Nothing too crazy or outrageous or anything. But I'm trying to maybe get back into that as well. And at some point, I don't know when, but at some point, I am going to try and play Star Citizen. I played for about 20 minutes the other day just to kind of get my feet wet. And within that 20 minutes, I managed to get lost and not be able to find my way to the... I never did make it to the starport. I figured out how to accept quests, but I never found my way to my ship, basically. I was almost to my ship and then the game crashed, but no, I ended up going the wrong way at one point, and I ended up in like the financial district, and there was this big building, and I walked up in the big building. I was looking around, I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And then I walked out the building, but I walked down a different set of stairs out, and my character fell through the world and died. So yeah, I am going to do a run of Star Citizen, and it's going to be very similar to how I've been doing X4 and all that stuff, where I'm not going to cut any of it. I'm just going to do the run, and you're going to see every crash, every blemish, because honestly, the people who are playing Star Citizen right now, they're editing all that stuff out, and it's giving the wrong impression as to what state the game is actually in. So I want to make sure that you know exactly what state the game is in. Plus, I have this new video card, so I feel like I can start to exercise it a little bit by popping into Star Citizen. So I will be doing that at some point. Oh, and by the way, on the DDO stuff, I am putting that up on the YouTubes. That will be, but it's going to be an unedited VOD. And by unedited, I mean like I'm literally rendering the full 3-hour session out as one video. I'm not going to split up into hour-long videos like I've been doing with other things. I'm just going to put the whole thing in 3 hours. Done. It's just going to be a VOD upload. So I could split them up in the hour things, but I feel like it's an old enough game that I don't think anybody really cares. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody really cares about it. So I'm just going to throw them up there so that they're there so you can always see them. And they're in 1080p, even though the graphics in that game are like ancient. So you're not really getting much out of 1080p for that. But I'm just going to do that. That's the easiest way to do it. And, you know, I don't have to, no fuss, no muss or anything like that. And that will be going up. That'll be like the sole, upload on like the weekends. Cause I always intended on uploading or making videos public on the weekends as well, but I never seem to manage it. So this will be the one thing that's going public on, you know, like Saturday or whatever, or Sunday, on its own. So yeah, those kinds of things. Also, just to remind you guys, I do BitTube mirrors my videos. So if you want to check out bittube.tv, they're over there. I also upload most of them to DTube, and actually DTube is a mirror as well of YouTube, so you're actually getting the full YouTube experience, but it's over on DTube. It's I haven't been doing like X4 and all that stuff over there because I'm trying not to spam it too much. But you know, the other things like the first impression videos and stuff I've been mirroring over there as well. And eventually I will get back to library as well, putting stuff up on library. I have most of X4 re-rendered at 720p and ready to go for library, but not all of it. That's the only thing that's been the limiting factor right now, is I have to run everything through Handbrake to get them down to 720p and get them as small as possible so that, you know, library can handle them. So that's the only reason why I've been so far behind on that, on those uploads. But I'll be getting those up there eventually. So you'll be able to see them over there as well. And Restream has been having some problems lately, but I think we got some of them solved. Unbeknownst to me, Mixer was not actually working with Restream for a couple weeks there, and I didn't know it. Like, Restream gave me no error messages or anything to suggest that anything was wrong at all, which is great given that I pay a yearly thing to Restream and they can't seem to get their shit together sometimes. But they seem to have fixed it within the last couple of streams. So it should be, I've been monitoring it, and so far so good. It looks like, you know, my stream is getting out to both Twitch and Mixer and DLive at the same time. I'm still debating whether to additionally stream to the YouTubes, the main YouTube channel. I may stream like DDO to the main channel, because that would eliminate me re-rendering it, although it'll only be at 720p then, but that game really doesnn't benefit from a 1080p anyway, so I might do that just as an occasional thing. I'm gonna try not to do it all the time right now, because I'm still leery about it. I'm still leery about doing that and having all the other uploads going on at the same time. Like, I had a separate YouTube channel, and I still do, Memory Leak Doom, where I was doing just the streaming stuff, and that was okay, but I don't know if separating the two is worth it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I might as well. I mean, most of the YouTube channels that were very active before, like when I was doing that, there was still a lot of YouTube channels that were active that were just uploads and highly edited uploads and stuff. And now it's like most channels are either VOD uploads directly from Twitch with all the, you know, hiccups and everything else that goes with that, or, you know, they're still kind of hanging on to some of the handcrafted content, but nothing to. It's not edited for time. It's just edited for size, you know, that kind of thing. Or not edited for content, but edited for time. Whatever the phrase is. So yeah, I'm gonna try it here and there. We'll see. I might just do it for DDO for now. And then we can debate later whether I'll debate later whether or not I want to continue with that. So yeah, I think that brings us all up to speed then. I've taken quite a lot of time here. It's a good thing I recorded about an hour of footage of Forager. Actually, I was so into Forager, I was like, I had to peel myself away even after that hour. So that'll be another thing to get back into at some point again as well. But yeah, I think I'll just do the occasional streams on the YouTubes, in addition to everything else. But yeah, I think that covers everything for this month. I would say that covers everything for this month. Otherwise, everything's been going swimmingly. in my isolation and all that stuff. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for those who actually managed to survive through this entire video. You are your stamina is unmatched. I would say. Thank you. Just thank you for hanging out and all these things and you know, giving me feedback and all that stuff. I did have a topic where I wanted to mention all the bots and stuff that are going on, but we'll leave that for now. There have been a lot of bots hitting the channel in various iterations, but I'll save that as a rant for next month maybe. Anywho, thank you so much everyone for watching, and hope to see you in the next video.